Bonjour, comment ça va, dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. Indeed, I am very happy to meet you today and share with you a conversion story of a saint. No one is born as a sinner or saint in this world. We all are born innocent, but we all become saint or sinner by the way we choose things in our lives. The more and more we choose love and God in our lives, we grow into holiness and become a saint. The more we choose hatred and the evil one in our lives, we are ending up uh, to become a bad soul in our lives. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Every saint whom we adore today as a great saints also had a very difficult and troubled past life where they lived as a sinners, but through the intervention of God in their lives, they had become saints by living a holy life, by choosing God and His love in their lives. Today we are about to see a saint who was not a believer in his young age, who did not trust in God or did not care for God in his life. But when he had troubles and difficulties in his young age and seeked God for his forgiveness, and when he enjoyed God's forgiveness in his life, he got converted, became a Christian, and became a great saint. He not only had conversion in his life, but he also brought conversion to many souls. To say as many souls, he almost converted a country into Christianity. That saint who did not believe in God in his young age, but when he had conversion and believed in God, he not only had conversion for himself, but also brought many more souls, so as to say a nation to have conversion and have belief in God. That saint is Saint Patrick. Saint Patrick is the apostle of Ireland. Saint Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland who brought Christianity into Ireland and almost had the whole nation to have conversion and believe in God. Saint Patrick was born in Roman Britain, which is now in England. His father, Calpurnius, was a deacon, and his grandfather, Potituus, was a priest from Bonaven. According to the confession of Saint Patrick, his own writing, at the age of 16, he was captured by a group of Irish pirates. They took him to Ireland, where he was enslaved and held captive for 6 years. Patrick writes in the confession that the time he spent in captivity was critical to his spiritual development. He explains that the Lord had mercy on his youth and ignorance and afforded him the opportunity to be forgiven for his sins and had conversion to Christianity. While in captivity, he worked as a shepherd and strengthened his relationship with God through prayer, eventually leading him to convert to Christianity. After 6 years of captivity, he heard a voice telling him that he would soon go home and then that his ship was ready. Fleeing his master, he traveled to a port 200 miles away, where he found a ship and with difficulty persuaded the captain to take him. After 3 days sailing, they landed, presumably in Britain, and apparently all left the ship, walking for 28 days in a wilderness and becoming faint from hunger. After Patrick prayed for sustenance, they encountered a herd of wild boar. Since this was shortly after Patrick had urged them to put their faith in God, his prestige in the group was greatly increased. After various adventures, he returned home to his family, now in his early 20s. After returning home to Britain, Patrick continued to study Christianity. Patrick recounts that he had a vision a few years after returning home. I saw a man coming, as it were from Ireland. His name was Victoricus, and he carried many letters, and he gave me one of them. I read the heading, The Voice of the Irish. As I began the letter, I imagined in that moment that I heard the voice of those very people who were near the wood of Foku, which is beside the western sea, and they cried out as with one voice, We appeal to you, holy servant boy, to come and walk among us. Acting on his vision, Patrick returned to Ireland as a Christian missionary. Patrick was not welcomed by the locals and was forced to leave and seek a more welcoming landing place further north. He rested for some days at the islands off the Skerries coast, one of which still remains the name of Innis Patrick. Patrick eventually returned to Ireland, probably settling in the west of the island, where in later life he became a bishop and ordained subordinate clerics. Saint Patrick himself baptized thousands of people in Ireland. He ordained priests to lead the new Christian communities. He converted wealthy women, some of whom became nuns, in the face of family opposition. He also dealt with the sons of kings, converting them too. Patrick accomplished his mission in the face of daily mortal dangers. He acquired practical construction skills that he built a church at every Christian community. He founded monasteries to encourage locals to the priesthood and religious life. Never before did the people of Ireland know of God except to serve idols and unclean things. But now they have become people of the Lord and are called children of God. The sons and daughters of the leaders of the Irish are seen to be monks and virgins of Christ. St. Patrick died in 461. In 29 years, he had transformed Ireland replacing an ancient paganism with a vibrant Christian church. The conversion story of Saint Patrick helps us to understand how important it is to have conversion in our own lives as well. Because when we are willing to have conversion and trust in God and willing to follow His guidance in our lives, we will never know how many more souls God will bring to Him through our own conversion, just as He did in the life of St. Patrick. On one hand, we all want to lead a holy life and want to be faithful to God by having conversion in our lives like St. Patrick. But at the other hand, we also struggle with our daily temptations and the daily difficulties of our lives, which is actually pulling us down, not willing to move forward and have conversion in our lives. Let us ask St. Patrick to help us, that we all may have conversion like him in our lives and come to believe in God and bring many more souls to God like St. Patrick. May St. Patrick pray for us. God bless you and have a beautiful day.